if one of the things you were concerned about in moving from a W123 to a newer Mercedes is that you won't get as dirty working on it, I can confirm for you that's one thing that hasn't changed over the years. All right, in order to get to the stuff we need to do to hopefully fix this, we've got to take off a ton of stuff in here. Some of it's just little covers like this that just kind of come off with brute force and ignorance, and other things are going to require some screws and things like the charge pipes, or well, these aren't charge pipes, that's inlet to the turbo. Charge pipes are underneath, but we're going to have to get a lot of this stuff out of the way of the front of the engine. So I'm just going to start tearing stuff apart, and we'll get this thing stripped down to where we can actually work on it. All right, so I've got one part of the engine assembled. The right bank is all apart, and we can see I do indeed have a bad camshaft adjuster. So let me show you how we've determined that and what we're going to do to fix it. So in here in the engine bay, these are our two camshaft adjusters. I'm going to put a ratchet with a socket down on the crankshaft pulley and rotate the engine, and then I'll show you what you need to look for there. So as I rotate the engine, see both adjusters are turning like they should. But notice how that turned, the outer part of this one turned and the inner part didn't. Keep watching. See the oil spat out from the center there? That's not good. And now see how that just jumped? That tells you that our outer section, the driven part of this, that's driven by the timing chain, is not coupled to the intersection, which is the camshaft. That's supposed to be locked together when the engine is not running, and it is not, which means this adjuster is bad. This one over here is behaving perfectly fine, shows no signs of issues. So this adjuster needs to be changed. All right, so now we know we've got one adjuster bad. I need to pull a bunch of stuff apart over here on the driver's side. Bank one, I've got to get the oil filter and housing out. And in order to do that, I have to drain the radiator and pull off the thermostat housing and some of the stuff that's in the way of getting that oil filter housing off so that I can get to the timing cover thing and get all of that off so we can see the same stuff that we can see on bank two over there. So let's dig into that. Oh, oh no, that's not good at all. That's a big problem. That is not good. Not good at all. There we go. There we go. Cover slid up out. Oh yeah, that one is wrecked. And so is the magnet. Look at this magnet. That front magnet there, absolutely annihilated. So that tells us we need this intake and that exhaust for sure. We're going to double check that one. And who knows, if both of these are bad, I'll just buy and do all four. But yeah, that could have destroyed this engine. It's definitely like, I may want to replace this front cover because it's eaten into this. It's ground through some of this bolt. It's done some serious damage in here. I don't think it's totaled, but that's not good at all. Piece of the spring that fell down into the timing valley there. Let's see. I think that was it. This has like a little ledge down in there. I think that was all it was. But wow. Wow, that's legitimately terrifying that this thing was still driving. You can see where it's chewed into the valve cover a little bit. Wow, I'm gonna have to get some close-ups of this so that I can show you. And then I'll have to order parts and we'll put this thing all back together better than it was when we bought it, which I guess doesn't take a whole lot. This side going again, which makes me think that that one is okay.
Even the one you know is bad is not clicking and not spewing oil.
Yeah, it's locked. So that's a different problem than this one has. That one might still be functioning in terms of that won't be rattling on startup, but that might be the cause of some of the other noises that
I mean, I heard a continuous tick.
yeah, which was probably that spring flailing around. Well, there we have it. We've diagnosed what's wrong, what's making the ticking noise, and also whatever that one was doing over there. So this camshaft adjuster on the passenger side that is not coupled properly that we showed, that's the startup tick. This one over here, I don't know what it was doing, but it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, and it's literally falling apart. So we're going to get some new camshaft adjusters, a few special tools in order to change these, and we'll get this thing put back together and see how it runs properly. If we look way down in here, maybe from this angle, you'll see the 40-degree mark is right here, and that 40-degree mark has to line up with the line that's on this belt tensioner pulley deal here. So all of the M276 info shows the timing mark needing to point about straight up. This one, it's about 90 degrees off to the left-hand side of the car. So that timing mark, instead of facing like this with 40 degrees, it's almost like this. So over toward that side of the car. So now with that set up, our timing marks on here are for our left-hand cylinder head. So let me get set up, get our tensioner off, get our locking thing on there, get the paint pen marked so that we've got everything lined up where it needs to go so that we can't jump time or do anything weird like that. So let's get to it. All right, there's our tensioner removed. That all looks nice and healthy back there. And this thing is, yeah, this is no good. See how this is all notchy like that? And it doesn't spring back out. This tensioner is shot, so it's a good thing we got new ones of those. So this thing goes in with a bolt through where the tensioner bolted up. So let's see if we can slide this thing in here. And okay, there's our adjuster off. Here's what I did. I found the laser cut mark, and then I counted off to where my orange mark was, then from there to my white mark. So on this one, I found the laser cut mark, counted off, marked my orange mark, and then counted off, marked my white mark. So these marks are in the same place on the new one as they are on the old one. So this we're going to take and throw away. I'm probably actually going to disassemble this because I'm curious on this one and the other one. So either at the end of this video or in another video, I'm going to disassemble both of these bad adjusters. This one that exploded, I'm curious why it exploded. So I want to take a close look at that. But let's see if we can get this thing back in and get stuff lined up on this driver's side over here, left-hand bank. Wow, that is some torque. But we've got 130 newton meters on there. Let's remove our lock here. I'm going to pull this pin out of this hand grenade here about halfway so that we can line this up and get it bolted on. They're both nice and tight. Now we'll pull the pin and that thing will snap out. And now our chain is tension. So it's a couple days later. I've recovered from the trauma of doing this side. We're going to move to bank 2 here, the passenger side of the car, and see if we can get this adjuster done, then roll the engine over after we've got both sides done, make sure that we don't have any interference, make sure that all our timing marks are lining up from one rotation to the next. Then we know that we're good. We've got new adjusters, new tensioners. We can change our sensors, put in the little pigtails for saving that. So I guess let's just get to it. To note, I have rotated the engine to the correct position for these. That was 360 degrees from where we were for this side. So our timing marks are facing this bolt instead of out away. So we're ready to remove this tensioner. See how notchy this one is. Oh yeah, this one's also cooked. See, that should spring back. That shouldn't lock like that. So this one's also shot. Get this spot where it's going to be happy to sit. No way did I just slide in that easy. All right, maybe we are in the right spot because our lock literally just slipped into place without issue. We might have this side done in no time. I'm gonna get my breaker bar with my T100 here. See if we can't crack this guy loose. Wait. Well, yeah, we can do that. All right, hold on. I got to get a different angle. Get over here next to the camera. There we go. All right, that's broke loose. Now we're going to make paint pen marks absolutely everywhere on this side. Okay, there we go. I'm going to need a new chain guide. we're on a good track here. Everything's lining up. We're all in time. It seems like this is going to be a pretty smooth setup now. So we've just got to reassemble everything. And so I'm going to put on some music and we're going to race through reassembling this thing so that we can hopefully get it out of the shop and I can get something else in here to work on. All right, let's get to it. My wife's holding the camera and she doesn't know it, but this thing's far enough back together that we're ready to try and test start it. So we're going to find out if we've fixed the problems or if we've made everything exponentially worse. So it's all back together aside from the little intake boots, but those don't matter, and a few beauty panels. All of the mechanical stuff is done, everything's together. It is going to chatter on startup because those new adjusters don't have oil in them. The new tensioners don't have oil in them. After the check valves expand and everything gets oil to it, it won't chatter on startup anymore after this first start, hopefully. But I've got the key. Let's hop in this thing and see if it'll start and if it blows up. There we have it, an M278. Our repair is complete. The car starts, runs, drives, no rattles, no squeaks. The only issue I do have is a misfire when the engine is hot. It gets up to operating temperature and has just a little miss to it. So I'm not sure. I'm going to put some spark plugs in it, investigate the coil packs and the spark plug wires on these. It's like the little rubber boot and stuff, because I'm thinking maybe somebody changed these and didn't put them in or out correctly, or didn't put the dielectric grease on them and they tore a boot. That's a common problem with these engines, so we'll hope that that's all it is, but that's pretty much all there is for now. Stick around, see any more maintenance that we do on this car and anything else that it might need repair-wise. But we're going to move back to some other vehicles and other projects, so stay tuned for all that. Thanks for watching.